momentous day in the Middle East as Palestinians vote for a new leader.
Don't give anything unless you know who you're giving it to.
Tsunami donors beware, how to spot scam artists out for your money.
Battling there with Jason Black. Here's a chance now for Rima. Up for Green!
And in sports, could the Moose find a hole in the Roadrunners' stellar goaltending? Good evening. According to the exit polls, it was a runaway victory for presidential hopeful Mahmoud Abbas in today's Palestinian election. And even though final results won't be in until tomorrow, Abbas has already claimed victory. Now, even before the election, political analysts were heralding this as the potential beginning for an unprecedented period of peace in the Mideast. With more, here's Martin Himmel.
Election day began with a call for Palestinians to vote. Polls indicate this man will win the election. Mahmoud Abbas is campaigning for a ceasefire with Israel and renewed peace talks. The rival, Mustafa Barghouti, is advocating a similar platform, but also stresses less corruption in government. The entire vote has been contingent on Israel easing the roadblocks throughout the West Bank and Gaza.
I really urge the Israeli government to honor its commitments, to withdraw, and to remove the roadblocks in order for us to have free and fair elections.
For the most part, the Israelis kept the roads passable. But in contested Jerusalem, the situation has been more complex. Palestinians had to vote discreetly in Israeli post offices. They complained the voter lists omitted many inhabitants. Precisely because of the international sensitivities, many world dignitaries came to observe this election.
The whole world wants to see peace in the Middle East. This election is a great step for democracy, and we hope that throughout the day, the Palestinians will have an opportunity to make their choice for the future.
The big question is where the Palestinian militants will put their vote. In Jenin, Al-Aqsa gunmen cast their ballots for Mahmoud Abbas, his call for a ceasefire and peace talks. But in Gaza, the Islamic movements boycotted the elections because they oppose an end to the armed struggle with Israel. As for Israel's Prime Minister Sharon, he's cautiously optimistic with this election.
Prime Minister Sharon said it quite clearly prior to the elections that he'll be happy to meet with whoever is elected.
That's no guarantee that the elections will lead to peace talks.
Here at home, members of the Palestinian community are staying close to their TV sets to keep on top of the election results. But as Jamie Dahl reports, for one family, it's less important who wins than what the winner does for Palestinians.
3 generations of the Zeid family crowd in front of the television set. They can't vote, but dozens of their family members still living near Ramallah can. They all yearn for the same result.
We hope for the better. We like peace like anybody else. They move back to the West Bank.
Hamadallah Zeid is thankful his grandchildren are being raised in Canada, but is always thinking about those still living near Ramallah.
I'm worried every day because, every day you see what's happening there. They can't go from town to town. They can't go to the city to work.
The Zeids are confident Mahmoud Abbas will bring change to the embattled region. Yasser Arafat's longtime successor declared victory in the election after exit polls showed he won at least 2/3 of the vote.
He has a different approach to things. He wants to, start fresh and make everything work right. So I think it's going to happen.
Local Israelis are also watching this election closely.
It's an opportunity right now for the Palestinian people to elect a leader who is willing to negotiate with Israel and come to a solution that will bring peace to the neighborhood.
This is only the second time in the history of Palestinian people that they've been able to vote in a presidential election. And even though there were voting glitches, Norris Zeid says real democracy is in sight.
Little things are going to happen, and that's natural. If it doesn't happen, then you know something's wrong.
Zeid is hopeful one day soon he'll be able to bring his children back to a peaceful homeland. Jamie Dahl, Global News, Winnipeg.
More bodies are being pulled from the wreckage of the December 26 tsunamis in South Asia. This pushes the death toll to more than 150,000. And now life for the survivors has become all the more precarious. Tropical downpours are hampering aid efforts, and decade-old violent conflicts have reignited. Separatist rebels infiltrating refugee camps in Indonesia, Christians and Hindus clashing in Sri Lanka. Despite this, the fundraising effort in Manitoba is still going strong. A concert to benefit the tsunami survivors hit the stage in Stonewall's Legion this afternoon. The quickly planned family event featured music and a silent auction. Organizers estimate over 500 people attended the fundraiser. Everything for the event was donated, with all proceeds going directly to the Red Cross.
We're also lucky and so thankful that that we didn't have those things happen to us, and that we want to be able to help out others that were less fortunate. So any way we can help them.
An adults-only fundraising concert gets going in Stonewall at 7 tonight. Tickets are still available for $10. And a group of Winnipeg doctors hopped on a plane to Sri Lanka today to treat victims of the tsunamis. A team of 5 doctors said goodbye to their loved ones this afternoon. They arrive in Sri Lanka Tuesday morning. The doctors are bringing 12 duffel bags full of supplies, everything from Band-Aids to antibiotics. No one knows quite what to expect.
We're trying to guess at what supplies we need and what we're going to see, so hopefully when we get there we'll have the right stuff and we'll be able to do something over there.
A little nervous, wanted to come home safe and sound, but I know he'll be useful over there and he'll learn a lot too.
Meanwhile, Canada's Disaster Assistance Response Team is finally on the ground in Sri Lanka. The 200-member team is charged with bringing tons of food, shelter, and water purification equipment to the tsunami victims. Today, DART personnel are being educated on the hazards in the region, including deadly snakes and poisonous spiders. They'll be in Sri Lanka's eastern region for the next 6 weeks. And with these sorts of selfless acts, of course, a flip side. Toronto police have just laid fraud charges against a man who allegedly posed as a Red Cross worker to dupe people out of their donations. An email is also circulating trying to scam concerned citizens into donating to bogus organizations. Asha Tomlinson has some tips now on how to separate the legitimate donation collectors from the frauds.
Have you got mail like this? It's not spam, but scam email, luring you into shelling out cash for the Tsunami Relief Fund. It's popping up on screens across North America. Manitoba's Consumer Association is warning, consumer beware.
At this time, because of the disaster, people are looking to give rather than the other way around. Who do we give to?
Workers here at the Red Cross are concerned about these scams, especially at such a desperate time when so many people overseas need help.
So when there's predators out there that really start taking advantage of people's good nature and interest in supporting, it's always upsetting.
Legitimate charities like the Red Cross don't even solicit donations via bulk email, and the organization is confident most people believe their donations, online or in person, are in good hands.
Coming here where it's more visible with all of this, I feel much safer doing it that way.
I walked by and I seen that it was all Red Cross you know, organization, that sort of thing, so it's a reputable company. That's why I did it. Otherwise, I've been skeptical up till now.
If you're still deciding on whether to donate, here's a few things to watch for. First off, resist high-pressure appeals. Make sure you never send cash through the mail. Bogus charities typically use names that sound like established groups to confuse donors. Finally, ask for a charitable registration number, then confirm it by calling the Consumers Bureau at 1-800-267-2384. Asha Tomlinson, Global News, Winnipeg.
And you can find additional consumer tips on the net at www.consumerinformation.ca.
Complete coverage of today's top stories. You're watching Global News, live from Winnipeg.
The St. Anne's family is mourning a devastating loss following a car accident Friday night. The car was traveling northbound on Highway 207 near Dufresne when it caught some ice on a curve and slid into the path of an oncoming southbound vehicle. 11-year-old Jeremy Rivard of St. Anne's was seriously injured in the crash and died in Children's Hospital. The 5 other occupants of both vehicles were not seriously hurt. Poor driving conditions is being blamed for the collision. A busted water pipe forced hundreds of tenants of a downtown apartment complex to find another place to sleep last night. The pipe burst on the 3rd floor of Webb Place just after 7 o'clock last night. Water flooded suites on that floor and those below. Power was cut to the building to stem the risk of fire. 3 people with pre-existing medical conditions were taken to hospital, officials say as a precaution. A dollar figure on the damage is yet to be worked out. Winnipeg police uncovered a grow-op yesterday afternoon while responding to an alleged domestic violence incident. Officers were called to a residence on Toronto Street around 1:30 p.m. and discovered the grow-op while searching the home. 229 plants with an estimated street value of more than $256,000 and grow equipment has been seized. 3 men inside the residence were arrested. 31-year-old Scott Burns, 29-year-old Serge Tetreault, and 33-year-old Henry Cinq-Mars are charged with possession for the purpose of trafficking and producing marijuana. One of the men is also charged with assault regarding the domestic violence incident. Police are searching for a suspect who mugged a man at gunpoint at an ATM. The 30-year-old victim was drawing money from a bank machine at 1285 Jefferson Avenue around 9:20 last night. A man wearing a black balaclava knocked on the locked entrance to the instant teller room, motioning to get in. The victim opened the door. That's when the suspect drew a silver handgun and demanded money. The victim wasn't harmed. The suspect is described as a male, 6'2", around 265 pounds. He was wearing a 3-hole black balaclava, a black waist-length sport coat, dark pants, and gloves. And Winnipeg police are asking all Winnipeggers to keep their doors locked, especially at night, following a rash of break-ins. Officers responded to 3 apartment suite break-ins overnight. All occurred while residents were asleep, thieves gaining entry via unlocked doors. Seniors may especially be at risk. 2 of the victims were elderly. Police say thieves may believe age-related hearing problems could aid their exploits. And Lady Luck didn't stick around long after an Ericsdale man won big at the VLTs. 2 men broke into his home and attacked him just before 1 a.m. Saturday morning. West Interlake RCMP say they were apparently after the man's VLT winnings earlier that day of $1,000. 2 men were arrested shortly after the attack in Ericsdale. 20-year-old Brett William Catch and 19-year-old Doran Brock Gozalak, both of Mulvey Hill, are charged with assault and robbery. A general clearing trend through the day today, starting off with some very light snow and then decreasing cloud. Tonight, plug in those cars. It's going to be clear and cold. Right now in Winnipeg, it is minus 24 degrees under clear skies. Winds are 19 kilometers an hour, and the wind chill puts us at about minus 35. I'll have your full Sky Tracker weather in a few minutes, but first, Africa's longest running and perhaps deadliest conflict is one big step closer to ending. A peace deal has been signed in Sudan. World News is next.